We'll see. In the meantime, Congress gearing up for President Trump's State of the Union tonight. One topic everybody is focused on this year's infrastructure. Joining us right now, Senator John Barrasso. He is chair of the Environment and Public Works Committee, which oversees infrastructure. And it's great to see you this morning. Senator, thank you for joining us.
Great to see you. Great to be with you again.
Help us. You know, we've seen different drafts that have come out in terms of what this infrastructure plan may or may not look like. The number being floated at the moment is a $200 billion number from the federal government, which would then be paired up with state money and, of course, private sector money. Is that what you understand it to be, or could you provide us a little bit of a different hint of how far this is going to go?
Well, that is how I see it, but let's take a step back. The State of the Union is sound. We have an economy that is strong, healthy, and growing. And in that setting, that's how you can really do the kind of infrastructure things that we need to do, and do it in ways that revenue is coming in, but not raise taxes. You see an incredible amount of investment going on in America today. You've seen it with ExxonMobil, $50 billion, Apple at $350 billion. This is all part of the growing economy, and infrastructure is a key part of it. It is the next step. We've done tax reform. We've done regulatory reform. We've gotten judges in place. Now we need to go on to infrastructure.
Senator, what is your expectations in terms of just how divided it feels like it is in Washington these days, whether Democrats, who have historically been supportive, at least theoretically, of the idea of an infrastructure plan, whether they're going to join you hand in hand on this? Already we are hearing pushback from senators in blue states and congresspeople in blue states saying, look, you know, we don't like the tax plan. We don't want maybe our roads to be privatized. You're already starting to hear that. You might call that them being obstinate, but is there a chance, you think, for this to actually happen in a bipartisan way?
Well, the reason I'm optimistic about it is, as chairman of this committee, I went and visited with all the Republicans and Democrats on the committee. We all know that there are critical needs around the country for our infrastructure to continue to be competitive globally. We need an infrastructure that's working here at home. But you're right. Chuck Schumer came out and said, no, we want $1 trillion of new government spending on this, and wants to raise taxes to do it. Look, we have just cut taxes dramatically. I know Nancy Pelosi called it Armageddon and the end of the world, but the results are coming in. People are seeing it. You're seeing it from the standpoint of workers, and you're seeing it from the standpoint of businesses. So We're not going to turn around and raise taxes for infrastructure.
Can the federal government afford to pay more than $200 billion? I mean, is this an anchoring device as part of a larger negotiation? Meaning, without raising taxes, is there any math that would get you to double it to $400 billion, for example?
Well, you're looking to find ways to leverage whatever money you put in there to amplify what you're spending. But you don't want to waste money when it takes 10 years to permit something that takes 10 months to build. So we need to do a lot of significant streamlining and regulatory reform to just make it easier to get projects done. I talk to people that have money, private money, want to do things, and it's such a headache to deal with the bureaucracy. We're trying to break through that as well.
Senator, I don't know if you had an opportunity to hear what we were talking about just before you came on.
Yes.
You are a doctor, so I imagine you will care about this. The idea of Warren Buffett, Jeff Bezos, and Jamie Dimon getting together to create what looks like a joint venture potential. I don't know if we're saying it's a not-for-profit. We don't know about that. It is a not-for-profit to effectively try to streamline and reduce costs in healthcare. Talking about a private sector approach. What do you make of that?
Well, I like it. I've always felt that private sector can do a much better job than government in terms of allocating resources, helping people come up with the right solutions for things without a lot of the waste. And those are the right three people to do it. I know that Becky, you visited with some of them this weekend. I think you did as well. Andrew, they were all together in the same room. That's maybe where they've decided to discuss it. But their expertise in the areas that you've outlined is terrific. And I think everything they can do has shown that they know how to drive down costs, whether it's, Warren with Geico Insurance, whether it's Amazon with Amazon Prime and the spending, and with Jamie at the banks. What we're seeing is they know how to lower costs, lower expenses, much better than government ever has done, probably in the history of this country. So I'm very supportive of what they're trying to do.
Senator Barrasso, Dr. Barrasso, just kind of running through, we don't have many details at this point, but if you were trying to figure out how to cut costs out of healthcare, if you were in the private sector and you were doing it, how would you suggest doing it? Because we're trying to figure out what this means for insurance companies, what it means for the pharmacy benefit managers. Where would you expect to see costs get squeezed a little bit?
Yeah, well, you could firstly focus a lot on wellness. You know, I've done a program in Wyoming, the Wyoming Health Fairs, low-cost blood screenings, finding problems early, getting early treatment for problems before they get worse. And I think they can do a lot more with that. And the government has failed with that, but private companies have been able to do that. And that's the first place I would do, getting people more invested, more involved, more educated about their own health, which will help lower their cost. And certainly fitness is part of it. As you know, you see obesity is the new smoking. We've done a lot to get rid of smoking in this country. We need to focus on people's overall fitness level. Obesity is such a major contributor to the healthcare costs in terms of pain medicines for arthritis, in terms of heart disease, high blood pressure, diabetes. So much of these things can be dealt with diet and exercise. And from a corporate standpoint, I think they're going to be able to do that much better with their employees.
Senator, wanted to also get your thoughts. Obviously, the two other big headlines of the day beyond what we're going to be hearing from the president this evening is the House Intelligence Committee Monday evening voting to release that classified memo circulating in Congress. California Congressman Adam Schiff, who of course is a Democrat, called it a very sad day, I think, in the history of this committee. Given that, and you've talked about trying to do things on a bipartisan basis, this was not done on a bipartisan basis, and to some degree is very critical, more than very critical, of the FBI and DOJ, and some people saying undermining both the investigation and those departments themselves. What do you make of it?
Well, there's a process to determine whether this document is released or not. I hope that it will be. I will tell you, Saturday, a week ago, when the government was shut down, sitting in my office, we had 100 calls from people in Wyoming, release the documents. One call about the government shutdown. So I think that it is important for the American people to see this. We want this kind of transparency. People want to get to the bottom of this. And in terms of all the issues that are going on with investigations, there are bipartisan select committees working on this. There's a special counsel looking into it. People just want the answers, and I think it'd be a good idea to release these documents.
Andrew McCabe, should he step down?
Well, he made a decision for himself. I think it was the right decision.
Under pressure, in your mind, from the president? And is that fair?
No, I don't. No, I think there was no pressure at all. But certainly, the issue of conflict of interest and even the appearance of conflict of interest was there. I think it was the right decision for him to make.
Okay, Senator, we will watch to hear what the president says this evening, and we hope to speak with you very soon again. Thanks again.
Thanks, Andrew.